Recently, there was a Supreme Court case in the United States involving a company called Hobby Lobby. The Seventh-day Adventist Church supported Hobby Lobby in the case as a matter of religious freedom for companies. Of course, the Seventh-day Adventist Church, the official organization, is called the General Conference Corporation of Seventh-day Adventists, and it's a registered trademark, a District of Columbia nonprofit corporation. And so this court case, being related to religious liberty issues for corporations, had a direct relation with the General Conference Corporation of Seventh-day Adventists and how we address religious liberty issues in the future. In the last week of August 2014 in the Adventist Review, there's an article written by Todd McFarland, General Conference Associate General Counsel. The title of the article is The Adventist Church and the Hobby Lobby Decision. And there is a very strange mix, a very mixed message that the Seventh-day Adventist Church is giving the world. And this goes back to the fact that the Seventh-day Adventist Church is not against abortion. Neil Wilson, while president of the North American Division, on March 17, 1970, was quoted in a newspaper saying, "Though we walk the fence, Adventists lean toward abortion rather than against it. Because we realize we are confronted by big problems of hunger and overpopulation, we do not oppose family planning and appropriate endeavors to control population." That's a very Laodicean position. I mean, he lays it right out on the line, though we walk the fence. So the Seventh-day Adventist Church basically takes a no hands-on approach to the abortion issue and allows its members to make up their mind whatever they feel like doing. And so there are Seventh-day Adventist hospitals that perform abortions on demand. It was reported that at Washington Adventist Hospital alone, from 1975 to July 1982, there were 1,494 abortions. Now, I think many of us Seventh-day Adventists would be horrified to know that here's supposedly God's remnant church that is promoting the Ten Commandments stronger than any other church in the world. And here we are, if we're not openly breaking the sixth commandment, we're at best blasé about it and allowing our institutions to do it. And yes, our church has abortion guidelines that have been formulated, and if followed out around 2,000 years ago by Mary, we probably never would have had a Jesus Christ be born. That's how low our morals are on keeping the sixth commandment. So what does this article say by Todd McFarland? In it, he lays out the reason that the Adventist Church supported Hobby Lobby. He writes, "For the Adventist Church, it was not whether the government could require denominational employers to provide the drugs required by the ACA, because the church does that." So he's making it clear up front that it's not because the church is against abortion that they supported Hobby Lobby. Because the Seventh-day Adventist Church supplies these drugs that, and just a little further down in the article he says, "For many people, paying for these drugs means being morally complicit in murder." Well, yeah, that's where it is for me. And then he continues, "In fact, there is a legitimate question whether these drugs do in fact cause abortions. There's evidence both ways, and the Adventist Church, while implying they do not cause an abortion, leaves that decision up to individual members. And of course, whether abortion is murder is a debate that society will never solve." Well, Brother McFarland, God has already solved that issue. It's not a difficult issue. Don't murder. Then a little bit further down in the article, it says the Adventist Church bans its employees from consuming alcohol. Now that's very interesting. Our church supplies drugs to murder babies. and yet it bans alcohol. And this is for its own employees. Now this is where the title of this video comes into play. This money used to provide these drugs that murder innocent babies still in the womb, some of it is undoubtedly coming from tithe money. I don't have the actual figures, but I mean it says that they provide for their employees, and we know that General Conference employees, many of them anyway, are paid by tithe money. So here we have Seventh-day Adventist members' sacred tithe money being used to provide drugs that murder babies. So I wrote a comment to the article in the discus-powered comment section on the Adventist Review website. I wrote, "That's my church. Hard line on wine, softer on murder." Let's call on our Seventh-day Adventist elected officials to repent. Call on our pastors to call on their leaders to repent. And let's seriously consider what to do with God's sacred tithe money. Should it be used to murder helpless infants, or should it be used to spread the gospel and hasten Christ's soon return?